is next. Did you ever go through and confirm whether you were right or I was right?
I was right. Raw Request, 30-second hot seat always comes last.
All right, fair enough. Well, Raw Request. I'm going to make mine short and sweet because I really don't even want to spend too much time on this.
Oh, and by the way, just wanted to throw this out there. For those of you wondering, the Monday Night Football game that occurred on the same night as the highest rated segment in Raw history, it was the San Francisco 49ers versus the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
All right. So, yeah, it shows you that competition is possible even against the NFL. Just start putting your best foot forward, which kind of leads me into my Raw request. Raw, SmackDown, just the main WWE product. Take notes from NXT.
Yeah.
Their television product, their quote-unquote pay-per-view product, which I will call event specials. They're destroying you. It's not even close. Now, will I enjoy Night of Champions? Yeah, but I may only enjoy Night of Champions as the one-match card that you build it as, Cena versus Lesnar too. That and what I'm assuming will be Ambrose's return.
Yeah.
But, like, NXT, they're building multiple people at once. Like, yes, Adrian Neville is still on top, and that kind of irritates me, but look at what we're probably going to get out of it for those that saw TakeOver Fatal 4-Way. Like, Sami Zayn just looks so distraught. I really believe we're going to get a program between those two now, and then Zayn will probably...
Sami Zayn might end up going on like a hardcore downward spiral. Because
Maybe.
he was just in a championship match. You need to build him back up from the bottom in order for it to seem like, in order for the whole Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville one-on-one match at the next special to make sense.
Right. But they have the time to build him up, because again, the specials are so spaced out.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Any match you're building towards, I think gets great amount of build. In fact, I don't think, and maybe I'm wrong, so I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I will tentatively say that I don't think you and I have ever had a complaint about an NXT matchup or feud having a lack of build. And if we did, it was certainly a lower card feud at best, because it's never been a main program, ever.
Yeah.
And they're just so good at it. And I just want just the main pay-per-views to learn. I was complaining anyway about, missing the days when SmackDown had its own identity, but I see that NXT has just totally taken that over. And I'm glad NXT is getting its own specials and this and that. I hope it comes to a point, and I know it's kind of a divisive point among wrestling fans, but I personally hope that it does come to a point where NXT is more actively feuding with the main roster guys. I mean, I still picture in my head like Team NXT versus Team WWE at like a Survivor Series, and NXT wins because they're just so much better. Like, I don't know. So yeah, that's my Raw request. WWE, in terms of like Raw and SmackDown, sit down, take out your notepad, and take a freaking note on how NXT takes care of business, because you have the same potential, you just choose not to exercise it, and because of that, shame on you.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, doesn't it really come down to just Triple H having more reign over WWE rather than just being in charge of NXT?
I think it does, and you know what else it comes down to? And I'm so glad that you continued my discussion on this, because that brings me to another article I shared, because there was one day on Pweetov that I went on a binge of just like wanting to produce content for interaction with other members. Apparently, NXT, like Triple H is in charge of it creatively, but as far as writing, there are only 1 to 2 writers. That's amazing. Apparently, like with Raw, there are so many writers that we have read on more than one occasion about multiple script rewrites.
Yeah.
I think that's another problem. Yeah, we keep saying, like, save us, Triple H, save us, and that's certainly true, Ashton, without question. But I think it also goes with reforming the infrastructure of the actual, like, the internal dialogues and everything about the product. We need to cut back that writing team majorly to, like, 3 guys. I think you said it best in your comment. It should be 3 guys, because you have one guy of one opinion, one guy is another, and then another guy that could be like a tiebreaker. No more than 4 people.
Honestly, dude, I think that the WWE needs to go out of their way to recreate the formula that set them up for success in the Attitude Era, that being Cornette versus Russo with Vince overseeing the whole thing.
Right.
Because you have Jim Cornette, who is like this old school, borderline out of touch wrestling purist. And then you have Vince Russo, who is this way over the top, more pure entertainment, like let's just do things to spike ratings kind of thing. And those guys are going to clash on everything, but then you have Vince kind of hovering above them, absorbing the good stuff that comes out of it and filtering out the bad.
Right. We need an infrastructure like that, because when I read that that's NXT's model, which in a way doesn't surprise me because they're built out of a university, which has another cool thing that Michael Cole and Triple H talked about in their interview.
Like I honestly, dude, I even think that because of that, I could see them like, did Brian Gewirtz get fired?
That name does sound familiar. I can't say for certain, dude, because I'm not totally familiar with that name. It resonates with me somewhere. He may have been, though, because that does sound familiar.
I'm looking here at a list of WWE personnel, and he is still listed.
Okay.
As a creative consultant. It says that David Kapoor, Ranjan Singh, I don't know if you remember him,
right,
is the head writer. Ed Koskey is the head writer for Raw. Stephen Guerrieri, I don't know how to pronounce that, is the head writer for SmackDown. And then Ryan Ward is the head writer for NXT. So what I would do is I would take Brian Gewirtz, who is technically only creative consultant. I would take him and Triple H. And no, not even Triple H, because Triple H would be the overseer in this case. So I would take Gewirtz and somebody like a JR or like an old school wrestling guy, because Gewirtz is one of like the new age. He's a writer. He's not a booker. So like, give me Brian Gewirtz and freaking Gabe Sapolsky. You know what I mean? Like somebody who is like a wrestling guy. Like Paul Heyman would be perfect. Give me those two guys and give me Triple H as the overseer, and I will give you the best wrestling product imaginable.
Right. We need a team like that, because I think where Raw really suffers, if everything we've read is true, because you only get so many peeks behind the curtain and you don't even know if what you see is real or not.
Yeah.
But if what we've read about is true, they suffer from too many chefs putting their hand in the pot. Yeah. And they need to cut back, and they need to get it to a team like you described, Ashton. And I think that, combined with Triple H just having the confidence and the creative overseeing as Vince did in the Attitude Era, you have a recipe for surefire success, because right now this isn't working at all. I think NXT is a model for what the whole of WWE could become in a few years' time, and when that day comes, I don't know if we'll ever reach Attitude Era success again, but it'll certainly be a renaissance, and I'm sure we'll see better numbers than we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
So I'm actually legitimately confident of that. So we'll see what happens. But now I've blathered on enough. What is your Raw request? I'm curious.
My Raw request is really simple. Don't stop trying just because you're going against against Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I mean, really nothing much to add there. I mean, fans like you and I have been watching the product for so long. We're going to rough it out. We've already roughed it out with certain painful periods, whether it's just entertainment-wise or just personal with certain talents or this and that. Like, we've weathered storms.
Here's my hope, John, because this is all setting up. This is all setting up really well. The 1999 segment that I kept on talking about, the This Is Your Life thing with The Rock, the highest rated segment in Raw history. That was the Monday Night Raw after a pay-per-view.
Right.
It was also week 3 of the NFL. That's exactly what's being set up for this year.
Right.
Because Monday Night Raw after Night of Champions is week 3 of the NFL. And I don't think that anybody would really go out of their way to stand up and say, Unforgiven 1999 is one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time. Nobody would. Would you, John?
I don't even remember seeing that pay-per-view, so I can't comment one way or the other.
Okay, that was the Kennel from Hell match for the hardcore title between Al Snow and the Big Boss Man.
That alone sounds bad, so I'm going to say hell no to that, even though I didn't see it.
Yeah,
Holy
and
crap.
it was like New Age Outlaws versus Edge and Christian. It was there were a lot of throwaway matches in that pay-per-view, and the main event was a 6-pack challenge. Triple H, The Rock, Mankind, Kane, Big Show, and the British Bulldog for the WWF Championship, because Austin was like the special outside enforcer because the championship was vacated.
That match I actually did see. I didn't see the whole card of Unforgiven 99, but I did see that match because I was on a British Bulldog kick at the time. And yeah, that was actually probably the only good match on that card from the way it sounds.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed that, and Austin was great on commentary. So
right, and so that the main point that I'm trying to make here is that Unforgiven 99 wasn't a pay-per-view to write home about.
Right.
And the next night on Raw, highest rating of all time, despite competing with Monday Night Football.
So you feel like we may see history potentially repeat itself? I mean,
absolutely not. I'm just saying that not to stop trying just because it's Monday Night Football. Like, how do I describe it?
I think, like, even
the Monday Night Football game that was happening, it wasn't even a bad game. It's not like it was two really awful, 0-2 teams going against each other just to determine who sucked less. It was the 49ers with Steve Young, Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens against the Cardinals, who had also been they were both 1-1. They were both at 500. They were this was whoever won this game would have a winning record. Whoever lost this game would have a losing record. It wasn't an awful game. It's not like, in general, I just want to say WWE needs to try harder.
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying. Even if the NFL put on the best product imaginable, like say they had a game that had like the 8-0 Denver Broncos going against the 8-0 Seattle Seahawks in like a big Super Bowl rematch where like both teams are undefeated, so it makes it even bigger. Like the biggest possible game they could do in a regular season before the championship games.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that WWE should sing so low as to say, well, the main event of tonight's Raw is going to be like the Miz versus John Cena or something like that.
Yeah, and what I really want to do, I mean, people are going to be like, WTF, but the Monday Night Football game this coming week isn't even that good. It's the Bears, who most people don't give a crap about anymore, and the Jets, who most people don't give a crap about, period.
Right.
Like, you can do it, WWE. Try. Put effort into it. Stop begging me to buy your network and give me reason to.
And that's what it really, Ashton, at the core, all comes back to. You are so busy.
Dude, if they would have put as much effort into booking this Raw as they put into making that frickin' $9.99 music video, I would not be angry right now.
To me, and it's so counterproductive, right? Because they're shilling the network, and when I look at the product of the present, it does make me want to buy the network just so I could bury my head in the sands of the past.
Yeah.
And just watch old episodes of Raw, like, the Ruthless Aggression era, same with SmackDown, maybe even catch up on a lot of the Attitude era that I missed as a kid.
That would be convenient if they actually had every episode of Raw and SmackDown uploaded from that era, but, no, they don't.
Yeah. Yeah, way to, like, have
false
this expansive video library. False promises. There were so many Raws that I wanted to watch, and I realized, oh, wait, I can't because they're not even up. Douchebags. So, yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with your Raw request. When you face an opposition like that, and that's for any television program in any time slot, I don't care who you are. If you want to succeed, if you want to stay alive, then you put your best foot forward. But you see, here's the thing. WWE doesn't even have those concerns legitimately because they're WWE. They think because we've been around X number of years, we'll be around forever. Heck, their opening thing is WWE then, now, forever. Like, they're that confident. Like, we're never going away. They're probably looking at Jeff Jarrett's startup of Global Force Wrestling, and then they're probably thinking, oh, look, a napkin for us to wipe our mouths with, because that's all it's going to be reduced to, and everything else.
Yeah, it's sad. At the end of the day, it is sad.
It's sad when you see that people have become full, because I would like to think that Triple H is hungry to bring in a new era, and we're going to see how that plays out when he gets full control, because I'll be just watching everything even more like a hawk than I already do. But as far as the current powers go, they are so satisfied, and it is seen in every segment that's produced for their television shows. Again, I'm going to level with everybody. I haven't found the motivation for 2 straight weeks, ever since we've given up doing, like, separate SmackDown 12 hours, to even watch SmackDown. Because either A, they're regurgitating things that happened on Raw, or B, Raw is going to regurgitate stuff for SmackDown, like we saw with Dolph Ziggler and Truth and Miz and Damian Mizdow, and other stuff like Mark Henry and Rusev to a degree, and just everything else.
Yeah.
There's no point. Really, the only 2 programs that seem viable would be Raw and NXT, and I guess to a degree, based on what's on the card, Main Event. Because even Main Event, I think, like, has some good content here and there. But yeah, it's just Raw and NXT, and even with Raw that you hail as your flagship show of so many thousands of episodes, I mean, you're faced with Monday Night Football, you cringe, and you just like, we'll do this. I don't know, man. But that was your Raw request. That's the entire segment, because again, mine was learned from NXT. So that only leaves 1 segment left. What a great note to go out on if you're me, because I've just been so optimistic and upbeat. 30-second hot seat, so I am, even though you can't see it, I'm rolling my sleeves up. What do you got for me this week?
Well, John, I mean, here's my thing. I'm done talking about Raw.
Okay.
So your 30-second hot seat this week is, do you think Hideo Itami will have a match on NXT this week? And if so, who will it be against? And who's going to be his first actual program on NXT? It's a 3-parter, so it's a tough one. But you have 30 seconds, and your time starts now.
Okay. I'm going to say no. He won't have his debut match this week as much as I want him to. I think his debut will be next week. I'm going to say that because of the altercation he had to TakeOver Fatal 4-Way, it'll be against Rick Victor of the Ascension, I would hope. And his first legitimate program, I'm going to say for some weird reason, Tyson Kidd. I'm going to say Tyson Kidd's going to be his first legitimate program.
I like those answers. I will not complain. Congratulations, you did it in 25 seconds.
Yes! Oh, it feels
I'm
so
just
good
so
actually
done,
win.
dude. I'm just so done with this Raw, because here's the thing. The one thing about this Raw that put me in a good mood was the Cena Heyman segment, and I'm only now, like, well, not only just now, but like 20 minutes ago, when I first said it, realized that they only did that because it was at halftime, and it ticks me off even more that they pulled that. So, just, I'm done with this Raw, close things out, so I don't have to think about it anymore, and we can move on.
All right, I'm going to put this man out of his pain. This has been Raw. This has been TwitWow, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort in Commentary Ashton. Guys, comment and subscribe on YouTube. Discuss on Pleetoff. Do you agree with us? Is it as painful for you as it is for us? What were the positives of this Raw? What were the negatives? And what are you thinking about the product as a whole? Talk to us. And we will see you again for our NXT review. It is what I would like to call, the Fallout show from NXT TakeOver Fatal 4-Way. And as I said, at least from what I felt was confirmed on NXT TakeOver Fatal 4-Way Fallout, we're going to have a tag team match between Enzo Amore and Big Cass against SAWFT Soft Marcus Louis and Sylvester Lafort in tag team action. See you there, guys.